Ho ho buddies, welcome to Borderline Games. I'm Gareth and today we're playing Virtue's Last Reward, episode 37 I think. Last time. Oh my god, last time. We did a bunch of stuff. We solved the escape room, which was the director's office, I think it was called. But the big reveal was that Temioji showed us the picture that he had in his pocket. And it was a photo, and it was a photo of Akane from the first game. Now, what do I think about that? Well, I think that Temioji declares that Akane was his first love, and that actually means that Temioji is a weird old creep, or just maybe is Temioji actually Junpei? Now, before you say anything, is it possible? Like, we think that the year is 2028, but what if it isn't? Because we've seen so much evidence that we're in like a futuristic world, haven't we? We've seen that that Dio is in fact a clone of part of this weird cult. We've seen robots that are like inexplicably advanced for the time, and all these other things that kind of indicate that we're in a futuristic world. What if the year wasn't 2028, but it was the next time that weird moon would happen? And I'm not sure. Did it actually tell us how much further in the future? It's got to be at least 40 years if Junpei looks like this. But the more I look at Temioji, the more I see Junpei. And then what does that mean? What is Quark to Temioji? If we're like fucking with time here, then maybe Quark is also Junpei from like a different era. I don't know, maybe that's a bit too maybe that's too crazy, but at the moment I feel like Temioji is I think Temioji is Junpei. I feel like that's the only thing that makes sense, right? Anyway, let's carry on. So Quark says, "What's wrong?" "I left something in the director's office." "What was it?" "The picture. Ah, how can I forget it?" "Oh yeah, we must have set it down after using the face recognition thing." "Yeah. I'm going back. You two go on ahead to the warehouse." "What are you really doing, Temioji?" "I want to come with you." "Me too." "No, that's fine. Why don't you head back to the warehouse, Sigma? The others are probably already waiting." "Alright, I won't question your suspicious actions at all. I'll see you two later then." "Right. Bye, Mr. Sigma." I watched them jog off toward the blue door. And then they were gone. Oh yeah, the other futuristic thing is this Radical 6 thing that has sprouted up from nowhere. In the actual real world. Crazy. Guess I should be getting back then. Oh, could it be that Temioji isn't really there? Would that make sense? In the same way that Akane wasn't... Well, she was actually there, though, wasn't she? So, yeah, I guess that doesn't make sense, does it? But we could be communicating to him from the past, and he's in the future. I don't know. All together with me? Warehouse, eh? The best running bit. And, you know, it doesn't take much. There's not many really good bits that are in this playthrough. I stepped into the warehouse to find all the other teams already there. Kay and Luna, Fi and Clover, and Dio. The moment Dio spotted me, he dashed over to the rightmost AB room and slid his card through the reader. An Amberdex gate has been opened. 45 minutes remain until Amberdex game polling closes. As he turned to look at me, I swore I saw a flash of a smug grin. There. Happy? This time I waited for you to get back before I opened it. You see, I can be considerate. But Temioji and Quark aren't here. Yeah, where are they? I guess they forgot something back in the room we found. They ran back to grab it real quick. Then they'll be back here in a few minutes. No big deal. Or will they? While we waited, we exchanged information about the rooms we'd investigated. Unfortunately, none of it seemed very useful. None of us had found anything, and we were no closer to unraveling any of the increasing number of mysteries we were faced with. With that discussion exhausted, we sat down to wait. Before long, 20 minutes had passed since Dio opened the door, and Temioji and Quark were nowhere in sight. Don't you think they're taking a little long? Yes, I'm getting worried. What if something bad... what if something happened to them? What if something happened to them? I'll go have a look. I'll go have a look, Bom. Then I shall accompany you. No, I'll be fine by myself. It's not that far away. Just don't look into the abyss too long, or you might become a monster. I don't think... Okay. Look, I'm just going into the director's office. I'll be right back. No big deal. Right, see you guys later. I gave a quick goodbye wave and stepped out of the warehouse. Can I not skip this? No. Bum. Director's office. Oh. Just taking a sip of water there. Forgetting to talk. Thought I was a ventriloquist. I'm not. And they're not there. They disappeared. They trying to hack the computer? Are they there? Huh? That's odd. There's nobody here. The picture's gone, though. Temioji and Quark must have been here, then. I laid out the floor B map. They must have taken the door that faces the warehouse. After that, they probably went through the warehouse and out the blue door to the elevator. Yeah, that's a much shorter route. On the other hand, I came through the red door, which is kind of the long way round. Hang on, so where are we right now? Where is the... It was down here somewhere, right? Or here? Oh, okay. So is this the warehouse here? Or is this the warehouse here? I don't know. I think this must be the warehouse. It's the biggest room. Yeah, it's got to be this one, right? Huh. Looks like we managed to miss each other perfectly. Well, this was a huge waste of time. I feel like something's about to happen. Shoot. Might as well head back, I suppose. I packed up the map and was headed toward the door when... Huh. There was a light on where there hadn't been a light before. What? Why is that thing on? We messed with it earlier, but nothing seemed to work. I felt a sudden wave of inexplicable, nauseating dread. The light stared at me. I swallowed and edged cautiously toward it. The machine was in arm's reach now. I stretched my hand out toward it slowly. Slowly. Who the hell are you? So you've finally made it. No, you're... Oh. I am Zero. I was the one who brought you here. You undoubtedly have as many questions for me as there are stars in the sky. As you can see, however, this is only a recording. I will therefore be unable to directly answer any questions. Ask if you wish, but I cannot respond. I considered taking a swing at him, but decided that was spectacularly futile and kept my balled fist, no, my balled fist, at my side. And then I started singing a ballad. Now, where to begin? There are many things I wish to tell you, but unfortunately our time is limited. As such, the information I can provide is also limited. I have chosen 2 things of great importance to tell you. Is this really Zero? First, I will tell you about termites. Alright. Cool. I'll tell you about worms. In retrospect, I suppose, that's a rather odd thing to say. I imagine you look rather bewildered right now. Perfectly understandable. The person who kidnapped you and threatened you with death is lecturing you about insects. I suspect it hardly seems fair. Nonetheless, this is very important. In a way, it will determine your fate. So I ask that you listen carefully. Have you ever seen a termite mound? They are splendid structures, some might even call them works of art. Termites are natural architects, and their mounds are both structurally sound and they make excellent use of space. So are they following some sort of path as they build? Are they termite blueprints detailing which room goes where? No, of course not. Each termite is simply an oblivious cog in a tremendous machine programmed by millions of years of termite DNA. It is doubtful an individual termite has any idea what its contributions are helping to create. But a human does. We can appreciate the elegant forms of their alien cathedrals. We can see the simple beauty of their perfect functionality. We can understand the splendid planning of their structure. In other words, only an intelligence of a higher order can understand the beauty of what the termite builds. Now, consider humans. Why are we alive? Why do we love and give birth? Why do we create? From where do our cultures spring? There are many theories, but no one knows the truth. We are oblivious cogs in a tremendous machine programmed by millions of years of human DNA. Dino DNA. No doubt you see what this analogy is supposed to illustrate. Yes, I mean to say humans are not different from termites. We trudge through our lives with no greater understanding of our ultimate goal. You might say we don't understand what we're building. Only an intelligence of a higher order than ours can understand what we're doing. Imagine how we might look to such an intelligence. We may be building some structure so perfect and elegant we can't even perceive it. Whatever it is, we've likely been building it on a dimension just above the ones we know since time immemorial. That's how you say that, right? Since time immemorial. Can't say it in that voice, though. Since time immemorial. It takes so much kind of pressure from my diaphragm to do that weird voice. Maybe it doesn't even sound that weird. But, my lips aren't as accurate as they should be. I can't even talk right now. If we're like termites, then we've created it. Then what we've created is almost certainly something of tremendous beauty. And you are about to catch a glimpse of it. Or have you already? Well, that's enough on that subject, I think. Consider what I've said. Termites are fucking cool. Alright. Now, let's move on to the second topic. It is somewhat more... like, he's doing a lot of... I'll give Zero this. He's quite trusting. Like, a lot of people probably would have just turned away at this point. It is somewhat more immediately meaningful to your life, and in fact the lives of several billion other people. I realise this is rather sudden, but I have a password for you. Oh! It is the password to disarm the bomb numbered 1. Bomb? Are you ready? I will only say this once, so pay close attention. The password to disarm the number 1 bomb is... Oh, okay, cool. Let's make a note of this. BQZ RGJ DXR. I had no idea what he was talking about. What bomb? Was he saying there were bombs too? If he'd guessed at my future confusion, he showed no sign of it. That is the last of the information this message was meant to convey. Before I go, however, I have a warning. You cannot tell any of your companions what you heard or saw here. If you do, you will be penalized. Immediately. I hope we will meet again someday. We would have much to discuss. Wait. God damn it, you can't just spout all that crap and disappear. I found myself yelling at empty air. Wow. Another twist. So there actually is a Zero, and he's not one of the people. Or is he one of the people, but he's older, like Temioji? The hologram had disappeared. Ugh. What kind of an idiot does he take me for? Termites? Other dimensions? How could that have anything to do with kidnapping us? Shit! I kicked out at a nearby shelf. 10 minutes remain until Ambidex game polling closes. All players, please enter your votes. If no vote is recorded before the deadline has passed, any non-voting parties will automatically ally. Oh crap. I need to get back. Not like there's any point staying here. I spun around and ran out the room toward the warehouse. Grandpa! Look, Mr. Sigma's back! Took you long enough. Pants. Where are the others? In the AB rooms. They went in already? Yep. Why didn't you two? Have you been waiting for me? Yeah. Grandpa said there was something he had to tell you before we voted, no matter what. Oh? Nothing that significant. Just wanted to tell you that we're going to choose ally this round. That's it. And you had to tell me that no matter what? Seems kind of pointless. I mean, words are cheap. You can promise whatever you want. True, but we've got something to back it up. Just hear me out. Okay, go ahead. Quark and I both have 8 BP. We're already on the home stretch. So what do we need to get to the magic number? Well, we need you to choose ally. If you do that, it doesn't really matter to us what we pick. You'd get to 9 whether you choose 2 or 3 points. Exactly. That being the case, we don't have any reason to betray you. And if we both choose ally, we both gain points. True, but you must have considered that I'll choose betray. That'd mean you choose betray to protect yourselves. But that's why we're telling you we won't choose betray. Mm-hmm. Can I trust you? Of course. Alright. Tell me one thing. Is your name Junpei? Let's say we do this and both ally. Everybody gets 2 points. That means you and Quark will have enough to leave, which is great for you. But I'll be stuck with a measly 5. How do I know you aren't going to just open the number 9 door and leave us in the lurch? I can guarantee it. How? I can give you my word. I'll not open the door number 9. The number 9 door, even if I have enough points to do so. I swear it. We aren't going to abandon everybody else just so we can escape. I swear too. I promise. Man, so all you've got is a promise, huh? When I make a promise, I keep it. Trust me. Please. You've got to trust us. Alright, fine. I'll trust you. Bing bing. 2 minutes remain until Ambidex game polling closes. We're counting on you, Sigma. You gotta choose ally. You promised. With that, they turned and ran into the AB rooms. Second from the right. Well, guess I should get moving. Okay. One minute remains until Ambidex game polling closes. I had a decision to make. Should I trust Quark and Temioji? Well, I could believe that they were telling the truth and still betray them. That would bring my BP to 6. I'd be that much closer to 9. And choosing betray would guarantee that they wouldn't try and escape without the rest of us. Betrayal seemed like the safe bet. But... Please! You've got to trust us! You've got to choose ally! I just said this, you promised! Temioji, I could betray easily enough. But Quark? What the hell was I going to do? 10 seconds until Ambidex game polling closes. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ally. There's no point in betraying at this point, surely. Unless they do something bad. They might do something bad. Round 3 of the Ambidex game has been completed. Results will be displayed in the warehouse. Thank you for your participation. Sorry that I fucked that up. Ambidex gates now opening. You're not going to use that take where I fucked up, are you? No. Or why don't you get me to do it again? We'll do it later. Results from round 3 of the Ambidex game will now be displayed. Please direct your attention to the results screen. Right, listen, John, it's been... Oh, hang on, let's do this. They betrayed us! Oh my god. Points have been assigned or subtracted accordingly. Please check your bracelet to see your updated bracelet points. Listen, John, the game's coming out in a couple of weeks. I just want to make sure that you've left that take out of the read. Yeah, sure, it's out. Oh my god, they betrayed us. Those sons of bitches. Hey! What the hell, guys? Why'd you betray me? Quark had nothing to do with this. I made the vote. Grandpa! Alright, fine. Why'd you break your promise, Temioji? I only promised you one thing. We wouldn't open the number 9 door even if we got 9 points. What? So you're not going to leave? Not what I said. Of course we're going to leave. What? Look. See Clover over there? What? Don't tell me. Oh, she's opening the door. But why betray me? What'd you have to gain from doing that? Oh no. She's... that bitch! Wait! Quark and Temioji have... The words were barely out of her mouth when Temioji and Quark ran past. No, god damn it! Dum. Clover! Are you really going to leave? Well, yeah. Why else would I open the door? But why? I'm gonna go call the others. So we can capture Zero Senior. Temioji, are you and Quark going too?
Yeah. Sorry about that. Sorry, everybody. So, Sigma. Happy? I kept my promise. Clover opened the door, not me.
Like hell I'm happy. That's some shady shit, Temioji.
If you say so. I have to get out of here and that's that. He's got to pay for what he's done.
He?
Zero.
You mean you know who Zero Senior is?
Yeah. No point keeping it a secret now, I suppose. I know exactly who Zero Senior is.
What? Well, tell us then before you go. The number 9 door has been opened. It will remain open for 9 seconds. Let's go! Come on, guys! Time to move!
Right.
Oh, wait!
This is for you, Mr. Sigma.
Quark held something out. I looked down to see 2 pieces of folded paper. What is this?
It's a letter. I wrote it in the director's office before the AB game.
What? Okay.
I wanted to tell you what kind of guy Grandpa is. So, read it, okay?
He's going to be Junpei, isn't he? He pressed it into my hand.
See you later, Mr. Sigma.
Then he turned and ran toward the door. Temioji and Clover followed in his footsteps. I was so surprised by the letter that I didn't even try to stop them. Before I could think of anything to say.
See you.
Goodbye. Well, tell us what the letter said. The number 9 door has closed. This ends the nonary game. Thank you for your participation. As the game is over, all doors other than the number oh my god damn it! All doors other than the number 9 door have been unlocked. Some series of words. For some reason, my tongue just cannot. Escape is not possible. Please enjoy your stay. Okay. You're not going to tell me. Shit. They're gone. All we can do now is hope they bring help back. Indeed. I agree. I looked down at Quark's letter and slowly unfolded it. His handwriting was still slightly uneven, but he'd filled both pages with writing. I began to read. It was a really stormy day when he found me. He said the rain was coming down so hard it almost hurt, but somehow he managed to hear a baby crying. I guess I must have been crying pretty loud. He took me home and did his best to raise me, but he'd never been married or had a kid before, so I think it was really hard for him. He couldn't figure out how to mix the formula, so he was always carrying the directions around with him. Also, I guess I was a pretty picky eater, so oops. So if he didn't get the water to formula ratio just right, I wouldn't eat it. I guess it was kind of a pain, huh? But he didn't give up, and now here I am. When he found me, I was really, really small, and he was worried that I might not make it. That's why he named me Quark. A quark is a really, really small thing, and I was really, really small too. Grandpa didn't need to worry though, because it turned out that I was pretty tough. When I was 1, he forgot I was sleeping in the bed of his truck and drove off. I rolled out and went off the back, but I didn't even get scratched. Weird, irresponsible, negligent. I started walking when I was 2, and when he wasn't looking, I fell down the stairs. I didn't get hurt then either. When I was 3, I got really sick. I had a super high fever for a week, but eventually I got better. I guess you could say I'm pretty lucky. Anyway, I didn't really have any more accidents after that. I was a pretty healthy kid. By the time I was 6, I'd started helping Grandpa out with his work. His job was to gather junk from abandoned buildings. Then he'd fix it up or pull out the useful parts and sell them. There were plenty of abandoned buildings, but finding good stuff in them was hard. You had to know which parts were useful or you could end up wasting a bunch of time. Every time I'd find something, he'd explain to me what it was, how it was supposed to work, how to fix it, all sorts of things. Usually though, I just wanted to finish up work so I could go to the theatre. The theatre came to our town once a week in a wagon. They'd show old news or movies. In a wagon? What year is it? I went every single week, but Grandpa only went once in a while, and we'd only go weeks when they showed the movies. Oh yeah, I didn't know that I'd been adopted until I was 7. One of the other kids on my block told me. I guess after Grandpa found me, he looked all over town to try and find somebody who'd take me. The kid from my block actually had a mum, and he'd asked her if she would take me too. I gotta admit, I was pretty shocked when I heard that. He didn't have this long to write this letter, surely. There weren't a lot of kids with parents around, so hearing that someone lived with his actual mum was pretty impressive. I was also kind of surprised that Grandpa had tried to get someone else to take me. Did that mean he didn't want me? The kid who told me about Grandpa trying to get rid of me was a real jerk. He was totally spoiled and he'd brag to everyone about how he had a mum. He liked to come up to me while I was working and say stuff like, "Must be hard not having a mother." It had never bothered me before, but after I found out that Grandpa had adopted me, I started to think that maybe he didn't really want me. That couldn't be true. If I could work on my own, then he could get rid of me. I was scared to know the truth, so I never asked him. Then one day, he took me to a bar in our neighbourhood. During the day, of course. He went there sometimes to drink scotch, but I'd never gone before. When we got in, he just walked up to the counter with that grumpy look he has, and I thought, oh no, he's going to make me work here. But I was wrong. I saw him pass something to the bartender, and then he picked me up and set me down on a stool next to the counter. The stool was pretty high, especially for a 7-year-old kid, and my legs just dangled off of it. It seemed really, really high to me, and I was pretty nervous. Eventually the bartender came back over with a glass of scotch and another big glass full of something else. As I looked closer, I realised that the second glass was full of some sort of brown liquid and a scoop of ice cream in it. It took me a minute to realise what it was. A root beer float. I'd never seen one before. I was so surprised. Root beer was even more expensive than the nicest alcohol in the bar. To me and the other kids, it seemed more like an urban legend than a real drink. Well, there it was, right in front of me. I stared at the float. I still wasn't sure if it was real at that point, and then turned to look at Grandpa. He looked back at me. I didn't know what to do, so I turned to the bartender. He'd already turned around and moved off, though, so I figured he must have put the glass down in front of me on purpose. It still didn't seem like it could be real, and I was just staring at it when Grandpa told me to hurry up and drink before the ice cream melted. His gruff voice sounded like an angel's. "Is this really mine?" He nodded. Words can't describe how awesome it was. I never tasted anything like root beer before. The creamy sweetness of the ice cream made my entire head feel light. I felt like the luckiest boy in the whole world. That's not an exaggeration, I really thought that. The root beer float was delicious, but what made me even happier was Grandpa. When I looked over at him, he was smiling. I know that's got to be hard for you to imagine, but he really was. Right then, I didn't care whether he'd just found me and adopted me or not. He'd bought me a root beer float. Doesn't take much. That made me way luckier than some kid who had a mother but had never tasted root beer. Of course, after we left the bar, he was the first kid I bragged to. So Grandpa and I were doing pretty good. Until the fight. I was in a super bad mood that day. I'd torn one of my shoes that morning and some old drunk guy had yelled at me. All the junk I found was totally useless. The day was almost over and I was fed up, so I just grabbed some random trash and took it back to the house. When I showed what I'd found to Grandpa, he frowned. He started going through each thing that I'd brought back, explaining why they were all useless. I got really mad and just yelled, "I don't care!" Then he got mad, and I couldn't take it anymore, so I ran away. I was pretty upset. I started seriously, it was 2 pages of what are they, like A2? I was pretty upset, and I started thinking that maybe Grandpa had only adopted me so that he could raise me to work and make money for him. Or is it like it was summarized in these 2 pages and we're kind of looking at the memory now? I don't know. After a while I went and hid in an abandoned building. But by then I'd started to calm down and think that maybe I should go back and apologize. It had started to rain raining pretty hard. So I decided I should wait for it to stop. But that was just an excuse. The truth was that I was nervous. Part of me knew I'd done something wrong, but I didn't want to admit it. The rain didn't stop though, so I just sat there, staring out at the gloomy grey sky. I imagined Grandpa coming to get me. It kept raining all night and he never showed up. I gave up waiting and decided it was time to go home. I was about halfway there when I heard somebody groaning. At first I thought I should just ignore it and not get involved, but I went over anyway, and it was Grandpa. He was totally soaked and I could tell right away that he'd been there for a really long time. I yelled and he opened his eyes a little bit. He smiled weakly and said he was glad I was safe. He'd spent all night out in the rain looking for me. I felt awful. Grandpa had been out in the rain looking for me so long that he'd collapsed. I was horrible. He'd heard me crying in the rain, but I hadn't heard him. As I ran to get the doctor, I promised whatever God might be listening that if they only saved Grandpa, I'd never ask for another root beer afloat ever again. He got a real bad fever, and his temperature wouldn't go down for days. The doctor said he was, if it kept up, he'd die. If he died, then I'd be all alone. There wouldn't be anybody left to care about me. The thought of that happening terrified me. Fortunately, I must have passed some of my luck on to Grandpa because a week later his fever finally broke. I was glad he wasn't going to die, but I was also a little scared. What if he'd decided he didn't want a stupid kid like me around anymore? My plan was to apologise as soon as he woke up. When the moment came, my brain just stopped. Grandpa started talking. It took me a minute to realise he was apologising. I didn't know what to think. Oh. Okay. Well, that's given me shoulder tingles. You know when the hairs on the back of your neck stick up because of some kind of emotion. He explained that he was an old man, and that meant he was probably going to die sooner rather than later. He was strict with me because he wanted to make sure I'd be able to make it out on my own after he was gone, but maybe he'd been a little too strict. All of the things I'd worried about had been stupid and selfish. Grandpa cared about me a whole lot. He'd been worried when I ran off, and he'd gone out into the rain to look for me. I tried to apologise, but when I opened my mouth, I just started crying. I don't think I've cried that much since I was a baby. But he just smiled and patted my head. I asked him if he'd ever regretted adopting me. His eyes got all wide and he said, "Of course not." He told me that he was looking for a really important lady, and because of that, he'd had to give up on pretty much everything else in his life. When he took me in and started raising me, he felt like he'd gotten some of what he lost back. That was when I decided I'd stay with him forever. Even if he said I couldn't. I mean, it's kind of sweet and all, but he's just betrayed us. And is that the end? Tamioji end. Alright, okay, cool. Well, I don't know whether that means I forgive him or not. Okay, we've got the Tamioji end. Should we have a quick look at what happens the other way? Oh, that's at the time. Wow. Okay, well, it looks like it's another episode of Borderline Games. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Virtue's Last Reward. And next time, we'll probably finish this little bit of Temioji's ending. And we'll have another look at this, which we've actually just unlocked. And this, which we've just unlocked. Cool. There's a whole bunch of stuff still to explore here. I probably should finish these routes before doing these bits, maybe. I guess we'll talk about that next time. But thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Have a good evening. Bye bye.